This video is going to look at structure charts or structure diagrams. Now, a structure diagram is a representation of how your code will be written. It's designed to show you how modules will interact with each other, how functions will be used to implement features, and how a system will be brought together from the code's point of view. As such, it doesn't necessarily show the logic of the system. It doesn't show an awful lot about the data within a system, but it does show how your software will look once it has been written. We always start with the system at the top, and I'm just going to use the ATM or an automatic teller machine as an example. This is the first level of the structure diagram. And the structure diagram is in many ways a top-down view of how software is going to be built. So we can think of this layer here as the system layer. This is what we're actually implementing. Underneath this, we will create features. So what do we need for an ATM? Well, we need to check you are who you are. So check credentials. We need to check balance. Well, let's say withdraw. Let's just leave it at that for now. Well, actually, we could add another one. We could have deposit because some of them do those. Okay, so these are features in the system. So we'll call this the feature level. Underneath this, we have the actual modules that we're going to build. Okay, so if we check your credentials, you'll have check pin, won't you? So check pin. Now, in order for us to show that these modules are connected, we draw a straight line from that to that, that to that, that to that, and this to this. There are two types of arrows that we use in structure diagrams. They are the control parameter, which is filled, so that's control. Now, a control parameter essentially says that this is going to change how the software operates. Okay, it's usually a Boolean, it's usually a flag. There's also just data. Okay, now both are data of sorts, but one is control data, one is data, and that's an open-ended arrow. So if we think about check credentials, we're going to need the pin. Okay, now the pin is going to be data that goes into the check pin. What's going to come back from that is a control parameter, something that changes how the rest of the software works in terms of whether you're verified or not. Okay, now this verification means that you can't withdraw unless verified is equal to true. Now that's a Boolean, that's a flag, that's true or false. So this changes how the software operates. Now, the interesting thing to note about how a structure diagram works is this is representing code. So we could think of this one here, so the check credentials would be a private Boolean. It's going to return a Boolean. The name will be check credentials. And we would pass as an integer the pin. Okay, so that's now a variable. And after we were doing something, we would return verified, which would be a true or false statement. So we can see that this here is what we're representing here with the variables coming in and the variables leaving. Okay, so this is representing actual code as we would write it. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so let's do a couple more. So withdraw is going to need to check balance. And then it would need to change balance. Okay, so both connected. Check balance here will need the account, and it would need the amount to be withdrawn, so dollar amount to be withdrawn. It would return whether there's enough money to go back. So this would be a control. Do we have enough money? So do we have the dollars that we need to withdraw the money? The change balance, and again, need to send the account info, and it would need to send that the dollar change. Okay? Now there's a couple of other things here that we need to know. There's a symbol for choice, which is a diamond. And there is a repetition symbol, which looks like that. Now, we're going to be in the system repeating check, card, withdraw, and deposit. So that's why we have the repeat. And we're going to be doing one of them. So we're going to be doing, well, we're either checking credit credentials, we're checking withdrawal, or whatever. Now, hopefully that explains how the system will work. Obviously, with check credentials, this is where the PIN comes in. So we need to send PIN just to make sure we get it right. We'd also send the card information because that's going to have the information of that. The withdrawal, again, is going to need the account. Okay. And deposit, well, you can work that out. Again, check balance here. We might have another layer which looks at database connection. So you can see that this is further building out the functions. This level here is where the actual modules are. This is the code level. So we can think of all of the boxes in this section here as being the modules that we're actually going to write, which then implement, say, for example, a check credential class or a withdrawal class.